Now we start with US. US President Donald Trump has said that US forces will begin carrying out land strikes against drug traffickers. This comes as he described unprecedented success intercepting narcotics shipments by sea. Speaking at the White House during an Oval Office event, Trump has said that the United States is now stopping 96% of drugs coming in by water and will not start targeting those coming in by land. Let's listen in.
Knocking out drugs at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We knocked out 96% of the drugs coming in by water, and nobody can figure out who the 4%. I wouldn't want to be the 4% either, but 96% of the drugs coming in by water. Every one of those boats you see get shot down, you just saved 25,000 American lives. But we knocked out 96% of the drugs coming in by water. And now we're starting by land, and by land is a lot easier. And that's going to start happening. And we're not going to have people destroying our youth, destroying our families. Forget about youth, everybody.
Meanwhile, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has responded to Trump's threat of land strikes on his country. Maduro has stated that Venezuela would not succumb to U.S. pressure. Let's listen in.
Nuestra rebeldía histórica, el mestizaje profundo de esa rebeldía que en el mundo algunos no comprenden todavía porque somos lo que somos y porque sus fórmulas de mentiras, de presión, de chantaje y de amenaza no funcionan con nosotros. No funcionan ni funcionarán jamás porque sabemos dónde estamos parados y estamos parados sobre tierra firme y estamos construyendo el modelo de sociedad hermosa que se merece nuestro pueblo. Porque no es un hombre, es un país entero, es una república, es una historia grandiosa. Imbéciles, estúpidos los que creen que es un hombre. No es one man, son millions, the people, the Republican Bolivarian de Venezuela. Respect, estúpido. Los estúpidos del norte, que se la pasan opinando y escribiendo en los medios estúpidos del norte, no pueden entendernos, muchachos. Me perdonan si me exaspero, pero es que cargo una rebeldía y una indignación muy grande todo el día en mi corazón, solo aplacada por el inmenso amor que tengo por Venezuela y por el inmenso logro que estamos obteniendo todos los días.
Meanwhile, according to a document that was unsealed yesterday, the seizure of the Venezuelan oil tanker as last week by the United States was just as a judge-signed warrant was set to expire soon. The warrant was signed by U.S. Magistrate Judge Zia Faruqi on November 26th and gave the Trump administration until December 10th to seize the vessel. The seizure is the first of Venezuelan oil cargo amid U.S. sanctions that have been in force since 2019. Now for this discussion, we welcome Professor Collins Chong-Yu-Keat. He's a Foreign Affairs, Security and Strategy Analyst, joins us live from University of Malaya, Kuala Lumpur. Thank you very much, Professor, for joining us once again. Good to see you. Thank you. Looking at this, what are the potential diplomatic consequences of this escalating situation between U.S. and Venezuela, and also U.S. conducting land strikes against drug traffickers in Venezuela?
Well, the Maduro's response is, as expected, claiming that Venezuela won't bow to threats. Of course, is to appease domestic demand and domestic political theater. Of course, it's aimed at regime survival. But in terms of military capacity, Venezuela is no match for the U.S. Its armed forces are fragmented, underfunded, politically divided, and of course we've seen how the close geographical posture, where the U.S. military has higher advantage. When such defiance also has been seen now, it's often, it masks this sense of deep vulnerability, it's not a sense of confidence. So we have seen how Trump's posture is, to establish great deterrence, to have this, first line of maximum pressure backed by credible force. So it's also seen as, the warning about potential land strikes is primarily about coercive signaling. It's not an imminent declaration of war. So I don't see any kind of imminent physical declaration of war or physical, land invasion. But the whole objective by Trump is to establish clear deterrence regime constraint, and it's not an occupation or nation building kind of maneuver. So we've seen how this is also a continuation of the the credible messaging being sent now by Trump and the Trump administration, that all these efforts being taken now by the Trump administration have been successful, and of course also they are out to deter further actions, and of course to ensure the safety and security of not only of the American people, but also of at the wider level, the stability and peace of Latin America as a whole.
And how might Venezuela's response to U.S. military actions, how do you think this is going to be affecting regional stability in Latin America?
Well, a full-scale invasion is highly unlikely. So we can see that more plausible, kind of possibilities will include some precision strikes on regime assets and expanded maritime enforcement, and of course also some covert or limited operations targeting these oil, logistics, or security elites of the regime. As we all know, Trump prefers short, decisive actions, as can be seen in the this kind of similar action being taken in Iran a couple of months ago. Not prolonged entanglements, definitely not a protracted kind of capacity. And of course also this is also being done to ensure maximum benefits in the shortest possible time frame. And these responses are expected. Also the response by different regional leaders are also expected to ensure that diplomacy still prevails, to ensure that dialogue and restraint are being shown, and that there's this the repercussion, the ripple effects are being managed well, to ensure that the regional stability is still intact, and to provide this kind of buffer capacity. And this is all expected within the norms and the conventional structural norms of international diplomacy. So we have seen how these are the expected responses, but I don't see that to escalate yet in terms of the imminent boots on the ground or imminent land invasion, unless there's a different kind of responses by Maduro. But as of now, it's a clear line of deterrence being set, a show of force, a show of strength and power by Trump and the administration. A powerful message indeed to be sent to Maduro and the administration.
Indeed. Thank you for highlighting that. With that, I would like to thank Professor Collins for sharing